Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Trish, your Master Life Coach. So today I want to talk about burnout, my journey with burnout and what it kind of looks like. So it's been 2.5 years since I have really peeled back the layers to not just the awakening process, to unmasking, showing up authentically, and then really taking a deep look into holding myself accountable for how things kind of unfolded in my life. That has been extremely difficult. I can't express. I mean, if you're going through the process, you fully understand. But my target for this particular post has to do with burnout and all the ways that we've mastered something and then we hit a wall for whatever reason. So if I look at the patterns in my life as far as burnout and where that kind of looks like, it's like that perfectionism, that people pleasing, that all or nothing type mentality. And for CBC, like, you understand that these are unhealthy patterns and behaviors, and it's a trauma response to your younger self. And so now that I've peeled back on that and these are things that I've, have come through, I am recognizing that my baseline and tolerance for certain environments are very minimal, very short-winded. That's actually a blessing because now I know how to navigate and move, but in the same breath, when I am in spaces and it's emotional for whatever reasons, like this week we had a lot of events that we put on and it was emotional because people are transitioning. And so there's that. The night before events, sleep is sus. Sleep is sus. Leading up to the event is sus. And so when I get to these spaces, I'm already running on E. Waking up on E and then running on like negative E. It's kind of like a car, an older car where you're trying to, do all this maintenance to it, but you've got to be very mindful as to when you drive it, how you drive it, what conditions you drive it, XYZ. So a couple of things this week. And I love that, the other therapist, we're all in this together and hey guys, we're all working through our own responses and we're really being mindful as to the trauma responses, the visceral reactions, logically where our mind is at that time, and then what's going on in our environment and our relationships. And it's a lot. It is a lot. And I love to hear comment down below, like how you guys are processing and metabolizing this, and how do you know when you're overstimulated and what you kind of do. Because as a spicy neuro who has complex PTSD and is still a mom and doing all this other stuff, like there's points where I just can't. I don't show up. I don't show up. I honor myself and I allow myself to renourish, restore, and get back to a space of like normalcy. Normalcy is kind of a subjective thing because the baseline for that is so significantly different right now. And it's hard not to be hard on myself for not being able to show up the way that I intend to. But my body is kind of like, no, we can't do that anymore. So really this post is to let you know that, yes, I hear you. Thank you for the messages. I'm proud of you guys for your resiliency, your courage, and to showing up every day and doing something different. We've got to do this, especially for in our communities where a lot of women and a lot of men are struggling, not either knowing that they recently just got a diagnosis or not knowing, but really feeling that, hey, I've always kind of shown up differently and I just don't really know how to like get through these spaces. So I just kind of, whatever. So I appreciate this opportunity to like share my experience and my journey, but also recognize that, wow, there are going to be a lot of changes moving forward to accommodate and incubate and provide that safe space for us because it's so necessary and it's so mandatory and it's vital. It's very sensitive. It doesn't make you soft or anything. Don't get me wrong, because the minute I got to do something, it's an automatic response and it comes up and it takes me by surprise too. So creating those spaces moving forward is definitely my mission, and I take it very lightly. I take it lightly, but I take it heavily. Does that make sense? Probably not, but whatever. So yeah, the life of burnout is interesting. it's also absolutely beautiful because when you have like a group of individuals who like, okay, we've been doing this work for 3 years, we've been doing this trauma work for 3 years, having conversations, telling stories, allowing each other to see, okay, I completed this level and now I'm moving on to this, and these are the challenges now I'm being presented with. Same type of challenge, different ball game. You know what I'm saying? So it has been miraculous to do these Google meets with you all, and I am learning so much from you all as vice versa. And I love that it's reciprocal. And I love that we can show up and be thoroughly honest and authentic with, okay, this is what I'm going through this week. And I realize that I am not choosing myself first when I do X, Y, Z. Okay, we're all in the same boat. I'm literally going through it too. So I recognize this week that, when I stand true to myself, it's like I get a piece of my life back and I'm energized and it's good. And people are like, why don't you just, what's holding you back? It's not about, and we discussed this, it's not about what's holding you back. Okay, it's about how can you make steps to move forward. And these are micro steps. They're very small, they're very intentional, and it takes stepping out of your comfort zone. It's stretching, but it's very mindful stretching. It's not like forced, it's not aggressive, it's not doing things that somebody's telling you to do. We're not telling each other what to do, we're sharing experiences. And that has been so significant, especially along this journey of practicing trauma-informed care, resiliency, and then being mindful and having a self-awareness of like where you're at in that space, since a lot of us have a tendency to jump different time zone because of the traumatic responses that we have. So if I want to be very candid, burnout was actually very early age, and so keep pushing through obviously does more damage than and so I kind of we kind of drank the Kool-Aid on that, and now that we're learning how to just be, it's like you're changing the narrative for not just yourself but your family and your lineage. And there's a lot of people that are just not going to understand. They think that it looks one way when it could look any which way that you feel comfortable with. Because if you feel comfortable with it, chances are you're going to attract the tribe that you need for that. And not everybody in the family is going to be able to meet you where you're at because this is your specific journey, and that's okay too. And it's uncomfortable, and it can do damage. It can do damage in the sense of like, okay, be careful what you ask for, because now you're going to have to elevate to these spaces, and chances of people going with you are very low, right? Because you're doing it for yourself. So I get the uncomfortability. I get the fear that comes with it. But if you know anything about, and I'm very spiritual, and I don't just practice one spiritual realm, I am a master of all. And it is a beautiful sign of like, okay, growth is uncomfortable. Growth will make you feel as though you want to jump out of your skin and disconnect from yourself. And we talk about attachment and detaching from things that have expired a while ago. It's scary. You want to embrace and celebrate everything that you've done, and sometimes you're not ready to move on, and other times like you're like, I am ready to get the hell up out of here. It is time to go. And it's okay. It's okay that people don't understand that. It's okay that people are judging. I know that it's difficult because people try to keep you at a certain level, and when you're trying to elevate, like people can't go with you, and that's just what that looks like. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up was somebody mentioned to me the other day, like, when you're trying to like come up into a space, it's like you have to like really be careful with like the social media. I was really going to delete the whole entire Facebook account because I was like, this is really not good for my mental health. I've got to get out of it. And then I went to my friends category. I was like, if I haven't really talked to anybody and physically touched them in 6 months, there's no reason for you to be on my page. And that's how I feel about that. I'm not trying to go for rich and famous. I'm just trying to put out things that I feel confident about, I want to grow into, and that I want to connect with other people to see how that kind of looks like, because we're all changing and evolving. And so I get that you're getting this rhetoric back, but then we have to practice our boundaries and what that kind of looks like. You don't have to say anything. You can choose to say something, whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you give yourself permission to do, let it be because you've done it and not because of somebody else. But anyways, I love you all. Thank you for checking in with my channel. And I love to hear your comments in below as to where you're coming from.